Okay, we're going to start today looking at the command line interface to the Azure virtual machines and stuff like that. A lot of this we'll also look at kind of comparing this to Azure Portal and how you can do this with their interface. But often, there's a time when you want to use the command line interface, the CLI. Particularly if you're programming or automating some of this stuff, or if you're on some sort of environment where you have to use those sorts of stuff. So I'm starting this lab. We're just going to hit start. It talks about the command line interface here. Again, this is where we're similar to like a Unix or Linux command line interface for Azure. So again, we can use this interface here. It's available in different windows. You can install an app or work with it directly in Windows or Mac or Linux here, or open it up in a cloud shell here and browse there. So that's our idea. So we're going to start with exercise. The first thing we're going to want to do is create a virtual machine and activate our sandbox. So I hadn't signed into Microsoft recently with my CSS ID, so I just had to go through and do that. So now I'm just waiting for the virtual my sandbox to be set up and ready to go here. And again, we've already looked at creating virtual machines without the command line. Now we're going to try to look at them with the command line prompt here in that interface. Okay, so once your sandbox is activated, you'll get connected to the Azure Cloud Shell. And again, if you download or work on this if you do this a lot, you can download a program just to do this. But again, you can generally get at it to a browser through Azure also. So that's what we have set up here. And again, there are different commands. With our virtual machine, we can create a virtual machine, deallocate it, delete it, list it, and do this work on it. So we'll do a number of these things. Like a lot of things, there are parameters we can specify with the dash. Now, with Linux, often it's a command space and then a single dash for some parameters. And depending on how it's set up, you might specify a dash for some different parameters or some different systems. So watch that. Okay, so we're going to look at this virtual machine creation. So again, we're going to do AZ for Azure VM create, and then we can specify information about the resource group and things like that. So I can, again, you could just copy this all in, but we can just hit copy and paste rather than have to type this all in. So I'm going to do that. Often, again, when you're pasting things in, watch that we don't get any special characters in here. Now, one thing you often see with command line, if you're typing along command line, you can hit a backslash and then continue on the next line. So that's what they're doing here, is they're typing in a command, and rather than putting this all on one line, which would be okay, they're putting in a backslash and putting each of the different options on a different line here. And then we can hit enter, and it will execute that command here and set that up. So it's creating and running this virtual machine. Okay, and again, I'm going to kind of just compare this to creating a doing things in the Azure Portal also. So again, we actually did this in another lab. So I'm going to switch over here again, where we are in Azure here. I zoom in a little bit more here. Sorry, I zoomed out there. And I can create a resource or go to virtual machines and do a create. Either way here, so I can create virtual machines for this here. So again, I could create a new virtual machine, and I'd have to specify certain parameters, the resource group here for this, the name of the virtual machine, machine 2, okay, the location, and again, so these parameters here match what we're doing with this command line interface. So again, we specified, we said create the resource group, the location, the name of the machine, the image we wanted, the admin user, and if we wanted to, how we wanted to generate secure shell stuff. So again, the location here, the type of machine we want to generate, here a long-term support. And again, now there's actually two options of Linux, 18 and 20 you can choose between. I'm just going to leave it 18, and then how we're going to create this secure shell, and then the username, and we're going to generate a new key pair here. So again, we're specifying all that in the command line for this. So again, this ran and created our machine. Here, let me just create this other machine here. I'm going to attach a disk and just review and create that. Okay, so like I said, you don't have to do this when you're doing the lab. You don't have to do the portal. You can just do the command line interface. But I just think it's kind of good to see the parallel here, and that they both do the same thing for us for this. Okay, then once this is done, we're given some information. This is actually in what is called a JSON format here, where it has brackets and then tags and then amounts or values kind of here. So this just defines our machine, but it shows that the machine has created some information about it. So okay, now we're going to test out our virtual machine here. So we do want to look at the public address for this machine and maybe make a note of that. So I'm actually going to just take this whole thing and paste that into a notepad value here so that I can have it. And make note of this public address. So now we're going to connect to that machine with secure shell here. So we're going to secure shell the username that was created, that we specified up here when we created the machine. Oops, I was in the previous one, was Azure user, so that's what we're using. And then you can that's the username we specified to create the and then the address. So over here I'm going to do that command, secure shell, and then Azure user at the machine location. And now I'm going to grab this address, which is right up here for this. So again, 104.42.146.207, the secure cell. And again, this is the first time we're connecting this machine. It wants to make sure we want to connect to a strange machine. I'm going to say yes here to add that to our list, and now I'm connected there. So now I can see my Azure user at sample VM. So that's the name of the machine, and I can execute commands on that. I'm shelled into that stuff. So again, this tells you this stuff. And again, this worked because when we created this, it downloaded our private key to this in this environment here. So this command line shell environment has our private key file, so it was able to connect up to it since we specified how to do that stuff. Okay, now we'll explore the image. Again, we can do these commands ls and ps and stuff like that. Unix commands we can type in here, command line prompts. Now I'll just talk about that in the portal. Again, you don't have to do this, but once your resource is deployed here also, you can see the address, the public address is here, and it'll tell you information how to connect to that address for this. So it'll say secure shell, and then again that username, and then that address. Now currently, because I created one machine in this command line and another machine here, I actually have two I should have two virtual machines, I think, running here. Yeah, the sample machine that was created in the tutorial, and this CIS2011 machine that I created in the command line. So in this test environment, I currently have two machines tested here. Okay, back here. So we're going to explore the VM machine. So again, I can list the available virtual machines here. So I'm just going to copy that command and put it here. And so again, now right now I'm remote into this machine. I want to get out of that. I think let me go back and make sure I think that's what they should have told me to do here, is just to go back. Okay. We typed in our machines. Yeah. So now, again, we want to sign out of our virtual machine and get back. So we don't want to be on our virtual machine. We're going to be back in our cloud, Azure cloud login. So I missed that last part here. Okay, then we're going to continue. Now we can do this command, copy that command and paste it in here. And it'll list the virtual machines that are available for us to use here. So this just lists the different machines you can create, different common structures. Now this lists the common ones. You can do a all to list all of them here. So here's another command that you can paste in here and run to list all the virtual machines that are available for running. Like in this case, they want to set up and run WordPress on a machine, so they're going to list out those machines for you. And again, this is kind of similar to when you're creating a virtual machine and you can actually list the different configurations or Windows servers, Linux servers, and stuff like that that are available. So. Okay, I'm not quite sure why I'm running these commands and they're not coming through. So there they finally do. So if a command comes, is frozen or whatever, there's a couple things you can try to do. Here, I'll run that command again. You can try hitting Control C. That sometimes breaks things. Sometimes Control Z is an end of file. Sometimes escape. But often in Unix command line stuff, Control C and Control Z are two commands that'll help break out of a command that's hung for that. Okay, so again, that was all the different Windows machines that you can get. So there's lots of options there, and you could also list all the machines that would run like WordPress for us. And again, you can list location specific machines. You can say I want machines that are available in each US. You can copy and paste that in, and there's different regions for this to use. So let's do this. I'm going to copy this, paste it over here, but I want to change it to, let's look at Japan East. So again, I'm going to just scroll over here with with arrows and change location, delete, 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 and try a new location, Japan East, to see that, and then it'll list it out. And again, like most command interfaces, the arrow keys work. So if you go up arrow, you can bring up that command again, and you can go left and right, and then to it, and then I can go to here and I can back up and try a different location, delete, 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 and just say East US, for example, and list those. Okay, so we can enter different commands and see different options here. Okay, so there are predefined virtual machine sizes here. So general purpose ones tend to start with the DS or DV here, and there's like DS V3 and V2, and some are optimized for high-speed computing, fast traffic there like F and FS. Some of them are more memory-intensive things. So if you're like working with relational databases or a lot of caches or stuff like that, these are memory-intensive systems. If you need more disk space, again, maybe you have a large SQL database or something like that, there's an L there. GPU optimized, so for graphic rendering, if you're doing some graphics rendering, also some machine learning stuff I would think would fall into this, and just high performance stuff is available here. So you can specify these different sizes when you're creating a virtual machine. And again, there's lots more tutorials on what these different ones in, and you can talk to people at Microsoft about that. But again, it's just a good general overview. So we can then look at what sizes are available. So I'm going to grab that and paste that in here to look at available sizes available. Okay, and again, this is very similar to when we're here and let's say we're creating a virtual machine. And again, you don't have to do this interface. I just wanted to show you here. Like I said, you can select different locations here, and this will actually display all these locations. And then same with the machine sizes. This is just common sizes. If I say see all sizes, it'll show me all these sizes and information about this and the different sizes. So then I can go in and dive in and learn more about some of these different options and what they are. So those are all available. I mean, a lot of this information is also available here, but they're showing you that you can get to it on the command line. And it also gives you some practice with the command line options. Okay. So those are sizes that we could see here. One thing is that I am running, maybe if I make this window a little bit smaller, let's see if I can zoom out. Yeah, maybe that's a little bit better. I'm recording this in a small screen, and so it's wrapping this text quite a bit. So I'm just trying to figure out how to get this so it displays a little better, because it actually should display this quite well if you make your screen big enough, like they show here. Okay, now let's talk about specifying a size when we're creating the machine. So we didn't specify a machine, so it's just selected the default general purpose size for us, but you can specify the size here for this. So again, with our simple quota stuff, we can't create that many, but we can create this. So I'm going to copy this and create another virtual machine. This machine will be sample VM2. It'll be size standard DS2V here. So scroll down here, paste that in here, hit enter, and it'll create that resource for us. And again, similar to here where we'd create a new resource and we'd specify the size of that machine. So right now I have sample VM, and the one I created in this command line interface, I should see soon sample VM2 in my portal once this is all created. So it's still setting this up and creating this. Now we can resize an existing machine here. So if we have our sample VM one here, I'm going to go into sample VM one so we can see that. So it is a standard DS1 V2 machine. It has one CPU and 3.5 gigabytes of memory. Now we're going to resize that one. So here's our resize command. I'm going to copy it now. It finally finished up creating that second machine for us. So that's done here. Okay, now let's do our resizing command here. So I'm going to run that, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. So again, as it explains, you can read through this. Again, specifying our resource group. Again, and we're using this learning one, so it doesn't charge us for it. The name of the machine is sample VM, and the output here. And this shows our different options we can for resizing it here. So now we're going to actually specify a new size. So we're going to specify, that was just listing the available sizes, list size options. Now we're going to grab one of these ones and put that in here and specify that. So we're going to do this resize command. So I'm just going to paste that in here, hit enter, and then, so again, Azure virtual machine resize, and then again we're going to the next line and do that. So again, and then the name of the machine is sample VM, and then the new size is standard D2SV3. So right now it's DS1, and we're resizing it to a DS2 here. So once this command gets done and it's resizing, we should see, if I refresh that page, I should see that done for that. Okay, then that got done here. I see, and it's some new information. Again, this is a JSON file that shows it, and actually shows a lot more information now, because I'm not just doing the standard setup here. And so it should have resized that machine. If I go over here, again, it's DS1 here. If I hit refresh, let's see what that's going to get to me. Now it's a DS2, so it's resized. Now I have 2 CPUs and 8 gigabytes of memory, a much larger machine. And again, I'm going to go back home and go to virtual machines and see. Remember, we also created that second virtual machine. So now I have sample VM and sample VM2. Those were both created in the command line here. So that's created here. Okay, so I've created these 2 commands. One thing that's kind of nice when you're going through this tutorial, as long as you're creating resources with this learning resource subscription, you have, again, I've got 38 minutes, and I could just try creating different resources and stuff like that. I don't know if you've watched, but in the commands here, they actually tell you there's some limits on how much resource you can do and which ones you can create. But it's kind of fun, like I did. I created this extra machine just to try it out, even though that wasn't in the tutorial. I just wanted to show you that. Okay, so now I can list my virtual machines here. So I'm going to paste that in. And they're going to list the JSON files for the different virtual machines here. It's really hard to see them here. It's actually not easier if you take this and paste it into some JSON viewer of some sort. So here I've just taken that and pasted it into Notepad++, but any sort of good JSON formatter or viewer will kind of show you, and you can maybe see, and this you can't even hide or stuff, but we could actually hide and see the different resources. So it's not a great view of it that it has here, unfortunately. Okay, let's do this list and copy this out to a table. Where am I? There. Paste. Okay, so these are my machines there, and in their tutorial you'll probably just see this sample VM. We are sample VM and sample VM2 we created, and then I actually created this extra one to show you how that works. And again, that's where output is exactly the same thing we'll see like from the Azure portal. If we just go to virtual machines, it'll just list our virtual machines. So that's the same thing as this AZ virtual machines list, and put the output as a table for us here. Okay, we can actually give some details about like machines in a learning group or something like that. So we're just going to use that command here. So Azure virtual machine show, and then our resource, and then a single machine. So again, before we listed all the virtual machines, now this is just the information about a single virtual machine, the JSON file for that machine here. So again, you can look at additional filters here. So again, we can filter this. Again, this is a big, long JSON file, lots of information here. So there's JMES here. We can specify a filter. So if we had like this JSON file here, and we just wanted to grab a part of it, like this part where the name is Barney, we can do that by just filtering it to like the first person in the list, and I'll be the 0, and first person will be Barney here. Or we could say that people with an age less than 25, and it'll, or greater than 25, filter out those, find those. So again, you're going to specify a tag here and then some value for that tag for this. So we can filter this out when we do our show command. We're going to copy this. Let me switch back over here, hit enter. There I am, paste that in there, and we'll talk about that. So again, showing with our resource group, our sample VM, and again, but we're just looking for the admin username part of this. So it'll go through and find the admin username, and it's Azure user is how it's set up. So it's specifying, it's just finding that one tag here. Similar to, like, again, if you we're going to go through this and you do some sort of find or whatever, find that information here in this file, and just locate that one line and find the value that's tied to that one tag here. There are different commands. You can try these different commands out. They'll show you, they'll filter the query, will find different parts of that JSON file for us. Okay, we're going to start and stop our VM here. So again, we can specify this command, and again, I'm going to switch back over here. So here's our VM, and it is running up here. So it is running for us. So we're going to specify, I'm going to copy this command, paste it in here, and we're telling this virtual machine to stop, and the name is sample VM, and then our resource group. So it'll power off, basically like shutting down this virtual machine. So I can watch that over here. It'll take a while for it to run here. And again, now they're just going to try to show that this is stopped here. So they're going to show this command and then query it and grab the status of the power state of it and see what the power state is and display that. So this is the command to display this as we go. So the machine should have stopped here. If I copy this and paste it over here, it should tell me that the machine is stopped. VM is stopped here. And again, similar, if I go to the portal, refresh this, it'll show me that this virtual machine is stopped for this. Now, if I go into that virtual machine page, there'll be a start and stop machine. So this is a start and a stop command line. So it's similar to just pushing these commands, but with the virtual machine interface. So again, here, copy, paste this in, we can restart that machine. So again, the machine right now is stopped. So I can see its status is stopped here. And so now we've restarted that machine up here. So if I refresh the screen, here I can just not refresh the page, but just refresh the display. Now it's running. So again, it's similar to hitting this stop and this start command here, but doing it with the command line interface. So, okay, so now it starts, we can install software on it. We're going to install a web server on it. So I'm just going to copy this command, go over here. Yep, I'm there, and do paste. So first we're going to list the IP address of it in a table. So this is the public IP address. We're just going to make note of that for us. I'm just going to copy that for now. And then now we're going to install software, we have to get on that virtual machine. We're in the Cloud Shell. So now we're going to go make a, again, return to Secure Shell. Secure Shell, we're going to SSH into this machine. There, our username that we created was Azure user at, and then that address, that public address right there, that we're going to paste in there. And hit enter, and now it'll connect us up to that machine for us. So now you can see the prompt means we're at the sample VM, and that's where, so now I'm on that machine. My prompt has changed. I'm now, any commands that go into this virtual machine. So now I'm logged into this machine here. I'm going to update some software. I'm going to do this in 2 steps, I think. You can do it as one, but I just want to talk you through it. So this is running update to update all the software. Sudo app is super user apt-get is to install or update stuff for package installer, and I'm just going to do updates and update all the software that's on the machine or the libraries. And now I'm going to install, so I'm going to do this part. And again, the and command just does these 2 in parallel. So this command is sudo apt-get, the app, this package installer that we're using, and I'm doing an install of this NGX web server. So it'll install all the web server and everything needed for that web server for that. So now once I've got this done, I'm at that remote user. I can hit exit to get out of that remote user, and now I'm back in my Cloud Shell here for this stuff. Now I can check if this web server is up and running. They're using curl. I'm going to do something else here. I'm just going to go, I'm going to grab, where was that address of that machine? There. So I'm just going to grab this address and open up a browser window and see if that address is available here. Now, often this might not work. Even though the web server is running, we may not, the ports might not have been set up correctly too. So I'm going to then go over here, and again, we're going to try to show this also this way. So I'm going to paste and look at that output. So again, if I went here, the site can't be reached, and then when I'm going here, again, it's trying to read port 80. This is, curl, oops, I should have done curl. This is to look at a URL and see. So curl URL would have, and then put the address in here, would have not worked, and then I just pasted in, I think I just pasted in this, which will open up that port here. So now if I look here, it should be available and open for this. I'll wait for that website to come up. It didn't come up. Let me look at this again. See, okay, so I'm going to do this curl again. Let's see, where am I at here? Oh wait, no, that was the open port. I wanted to do this curl. So I'm just going to type that in, curl. So that is to check a URL or load a URL, -m for the port number. I'm going to port 80 is the HTTP port number, and then my public address here. And again, that's the address we saw above when we were creating this. Oops, not that address. Let's go back up here and see. I'm going to scroll back up here. There's a lot of stuff. This address. I'm going to paste that over here. Okay. That's my address. Okay. Let's go see where I'm at. Okay, so I'm doing this curl m and then that address curl m, and I'm going to curl m 80, port 80, and then paste in that address. And again, I have to watch. Often if I'm grabbing from a website, it adds some extra code around this here. And it is working now. It looks like it is open and running for this port. Because again, originally it wouldn't have, but then I did this command here. This says open a port, this port 80 in this sample VM machine. And then if we do this again, we get this view that it is up and running. So I'm not sure. Let me go back here. And oh yeah, here it is. That's the website is up and running now. I just wasn't patient enough. Okay. So now we're done. We're going to clean up. There's more information. We're going to check our knowledge. Okay, let's test our knowledge. So suppose you're administrator, you're at someone's house visiting, and you only have a tablet, and you can't install CLI on the tablet, but can you still access it? And since you can access CLI from a web browser, that should be true, I think. Suppose you have a script creates virtual machines. You want to create one virtual machine and then have it keep doing that and go on to the next one. How do you do that? I'm not sure what the command is. I'm used to running the ampersand to run things in the background in Unix. I'm not sure if that's if they have an async argument. Maybe they do for that. So I'm just going to try that. And then Azure commands return a JSON file, but again, they can be rather large. What did we use for that? I think we used the query command to specify the part. So let's see how we did. Yes, so the no wait argument apparently is what we have here. I'm used to using that, but that works. Okay, so now we unlocked our achievement. We got our badge. Good job.